Delroy and I are delighted to be presenting the first BAFTA of the night for a vital part of movie making. We're here to celebrate.
Some of you are getting on my last God-given nerves. The fact that I have to come up here to break down for you the ABCs 1, 2, 3 do-re-mis of racism, because some of you have the bombastic audacity to want to litigate the racial intent of a white man and absolve him of racism because of his disability. Now, I'm going to make time for you today. Let me say this in plain English because I'm not speaking Latin or Swahili. John Davidson is a racist white man with Tourette syndrome. And let me break this down for you. Tourette syndrome is a disability. Disability is not racism, and it does not make you racist. The Tourette syndrome simply brings out what is already in the heart, mind, and soul of the person speaking. Because as a man thinketh, so is he.
Michael B. Jordan is finally breaking his silence after he and Delroy Lindo had the N-word screamed at them during the BAFTA ceremony by actor John Davidson. Now, John Davidson is the filmmaker behind the BAFTA-nominated movie I Swear, and he has Tourette syndrome, a neurological condition that can cause involuntary tics and sudden verbal outbursts, sometimes including profanity. Still, the moment landed heavy in that room, and you could feel the shock instantly.
Delroy and I are delighted to be presenting the first BAFTA of the night for a vital part of movie making. We're here to...
What you should know about this moment is that the BAFTAs were not streamed live, so they saw this happen in real time. Then when they edited together their broadcast, they decided to leave this in, not remove that moment.
Here's where the situation really starts to look messy. The ceremony was pre-recorded by the BBC, which means producers had full knowledge of what happened before the broadcast ever went live. They had the power to edit it out completely. Instead, they chose to air it. Meanwhile, they edited out part of filmmaker Akinola Davies Jr.'s speech, where he was talking about freeing oppressed people and uplifting marginalized communities. That powerful message never made it to viewers at home, but the slur directed at 2 respected black actors did. People online are asking how that decision even makes sense, and it gets worse.
Those under occupation, dictatorship, persecution, and those experiencing genocide, you matter, your stories matter more than ever. Your dreams are an act of resistance. To those watching at home, archive your loved ones, archive your stories, yesterday, today, and forever. For Nigeria, for London, the Congo, Sudan, free Palestine. Thank you.
Delroy Lindo later revealed that no one from BAFTA reached out to him or Michael afterward to explain the situation or even offer a simple conversation. No follow-up, no direct acknowledgement, nothing. He told Vanity Fair that they did what we had to do in the moment while presenting the award for Best Visual Effects, staying professional despite what happened. He also said he wished someone from BAFTA had spoken to them afterward, just to address it properly. Michael B. Jordan echoed that frustration, saying he and Delroy were literally just at work when the slur was shouted. They were there to present an award, to celebrate film, and instead found themselves dealing with something no one should have to handle on stage.
African-American rappers saying N-word this and N-word that, but a Caucasian can't.
So say it.
Say what?
Say the word you want to say.
I'm not saying that I want to say it, I'm just saying that I can't.
Anyone else in attendance at the show called a slur? I understand the person had Tourette's. I know vocal tics are involuntary, but I will say, wow, this is quite on the nose.
The fact that it was left in the final broadcast has only added more fuel to the backlash, and now people are demanding answers. And the fact that no one from BAFTA even checked in afterward is just wild. Social media wasted no time calling it out, with many people saying this crossed the line into straight-up workplace mistreatment. One user on X wrote that what Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo experienced was mistreatment within the workplace, period. It was violent. That post started spreading fast, and others jumped in, saying the silence from organizers made it even worse. Several black women also shared their own stories online, claiming they previously had uncomfortable encounters with John Davidson, including Hannah Beachler. People began connecting dots and calling it a pattern. As we said before, many are labeling this as anti-black racism, not just an awkward moment gone wrong. When multiple voices speak up, folks start paying closer attention.
This is part 2 to my last post about the entire BAFTA situation. I am seeing a ton of people saying, oh my god, during Black History Month, Tourette syndrome is not based on a month. Offensive tics are gonna happen no matter what shut up a person does. I'm black, oh my goodness, and I also have the N-word as a tic. I have other slurs as tics. Does this mean that I use them regularly? Does this mean that I mean them? Does this mean that I can control what I say? No, it does not. That's not how coprolalia works. That is not how Tourette syndrome works. Quite literally the Sweet Anita situation all over again. shut up, where she ended up saying the N-word on stream. She got canceled for it, got called racist, etc. We need to do better. I've seen so many people say, that we can control our tics. That's not, if you can control a tic, it's not a tic. Let me explain what a tic is in detail. Shut up, bitch. A tic is when your neurons misfire. You think that you can seriously fucking control a neuron misfiring. I've never seen a human possibly do that. We have got to stop thinking with our feelings and start thinking with logic. It is okay to be offended. Shut up. But what it is not okay to do is be ableist and try to make it seem like people with Tourette's, specifically those with coprolalia, say their tics on purpose. My whole think piece on this, if you are offended, I do deeply apologize, but I'm just being logical here. I see a lot of people giving their think pieces, and they are specifically talking about racism when tics don't correlate with racism. But that's not what causes offensive or obscene tics. What causes those kinds of tics are coprolalia. Coprolalia, shut up, is completely involuntary and does not involve your vocabulary.
At the same time, a lot of users made it clear that Tourette syndrome should not be used as a blanket excuse. Many pointed out that having Tourette's does not automatically mean someone says racist things, and racism does not suddenly disappear because someone says there was no intent behind it. That conversation got intense fast. Critics also slammed the BBC's editing decision, saying airing the moment while cutting out Akinola Davies Jr.'s speech sent a loud message about what they chose to prioritize. Now, to keep it fair, medical professionals explain that Tourette's can cause involuntary vocal outbursts, often random and not directed at specific individuals. Those can include general profanity or repeated phrases without context. That's why some viewers question whether this moment was purely involuntary or something more complicated. The fact that the slur happened while two black actors were on stage made it feel personal to many watching. And that perception, whether intended or not, is exactly why this situation keeps escalating and why people are demanding accountability. That's exactly why this situation blew up the way it did and why people are seriously questioning both the BAFTA broadcast and John Davidson's intentions. The outrage wasn't random. It came from how everything unfolded, how it was aired, and how it was handled afterward. And it's not just fans online making noise either. Fellow actors stepped in and made it clear this didn't sit right with them at all. Scottish actor Thierry Mbanga, who was born in the Democratic Republic of Congo, spoke out and said BAFTA had a responsibility to warn Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo in advance about John Davidson's condition. His point was clear. If organizers know something unpredictable could happen, especially on a global stage, you give presenters a heads up so they aren't caught off guard in front of millions. Walking onto that stage without any warning left them exposed, and many feel that could have been avoided. Then, Jamie Foxx entered the chat, and he did not sugarcoat his opinion. He went straight at John Davidson under the viral clip and wrote, "Out of all the words you could have said, Tourette's makes you say that? Nah, he meant that-ish. Unacceptable." That comment lit up social media instantly. When someone like Jamie speaks, people listen, and his reaction added major weight to the backlash. The conversation also shifted toward what many see as a double standard. A lot of users argued that if a different community had been targeted with a slur on live television, the footage would have been pulled immediately and public apologies would have flooded in within hours. One user on X wrote, "If your condition made you blurt out anti-Semitic slurs at a nationally televised awards event, Keir Starmer would be outside Downing Street issuing a public apology tomorrow morning. But when it's against black people, suddenly there's nuance. We must take pity." That comparison hit hard and fueled even more debate. And then another fan brought up Kanye West, pointing out that he never received this kind of understanding when he made controversial statements. That comment opened up a wider discussion about accountability, grace, and who gets the benefit of the doubt in the public eye. At this point, the conversation isn't slowing down. People want answers, and they want consistency. Nobody excused Kanye West because of mental health. He was immediately deplatformed, blacklisted, and lost a huge chunk of his wealth along with major endorsement deals. The Kanye comparison is what many people keep pointing to when they talk about imbalance. He is a black man with a severe, documented mental health condition, and when he made controversial statements, the world decided fast that his illness did not give him a pass to spread hate. World leaders spoke out. Corporations cut ties. Contracts disappeared overnight. He lost millions and was pushed out of rooms he once dominated. There was no long public debate about nuance. The consequences came quick and heavy. Now, critics say when the roles are flipped and the person involved is a white man with a neurological condition, the conversation suddenly slows down and becomes layered with explanations. The focus shifts to understanding the condition instead of centering the harm. That contrast is what has people fired up. To be fair, acknowledging Tourette syndrome is real does not mean dismissing the pain caused in that moment. Two things can exist at once. A neurological condition may explain how something was shouted, but it does not erase how it felt to hear it on a global stage. Intent and impact are not the same thing, and many people are saying BAFTA should recognize that clearly. Writing long breakdowns about how Tourette's works while avoiding the emotional impact does not calm the situation. At the same time, not everyone agrees with the outrage. Some people say they feel sympathy for John Davidson because his film actually focuses on how people misunderstand Tourette's and react harshly to outbursts. One user on X even wrote, "Craziest thing about this BAFTA situation is that man was present because they were honoring a film about him." That twist added another layer to an already complicated debate, and the conversation keeps dividing people right down the middle. That part is what makes this whole thing hit even harder. The film being honored was meant to show how Tourette's is misunderstood and unfairly judged, only for this moment to happen and for the public reaction to mirror the very themes the movie was trying to challenge. That irony is not lost on people at all. One young black woman who actually has Tourette's even came forward to defend John Davidson. She explained that it is medically possible for someone to have slurs as involuntary vocal tics without personally holding racist beliefs. Her point was that neurological conditions can produce words that do not reflect someone's true character. That perspective added an important layer to the conversation. But here's the key issue. Most people who are upset are not even calling John Davidson racist. Many have said clearly that the outrage is not centered on him as a person. The real frustration is aimed at BAFTA and how the situation was handled from start to finish. The ceremony was pre-recorded. Producers knew exactly what footage they had. They made a conscious choice to leave that moment in the final broadcast. At the same time, they cut Akinola Davies Jr.'s speech where he spoke about freedom, liberation, and standing up for oppressed people. That powerful message never made it to viewers at home. So people are asking questions. Why was a speech about liberation considered too controversial to air, but a moment involving a racial slur was not? That editing decision is what many say speaks the loudest. The silence afterward, combined with what was censored and what was not, is what keeps this debate alive and growing louder by the day. But the outburst made the final cut without hesitation, and that's why people are calling it a clear double standard. The editing choices sent a loud message about whose voices matter and whose pain gets pushed to the front or quietly trimmed away. This stopped being just about one tense moment. It turned into a bigger conversation about power, priorities, and who gets protected. At the end of the day, an organization decided what was safe to air and what wasn't. A speech about liberation and standing up for oppressed people was cut, but two black actors being subjected to a slur stayed in the broadcast. That contrast is what has people heated. Many feel it's painfully obvious whose discomfort they were trying to avoid, while black artists were left on screen dealing with the fallout. It is possible to hold two truths at the same time. John Davidson has Tourette syndrome, which can explain involuntary outbursts. And at the same time, the harm experienced by Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo is real, valid, and undeniable. Both things can exist without canceling each other out. But BAFTA's editorial decisions speak louder than any explanation. They had full control over what millions would see, and they chose which voices to mute and which moments to spotlight. So now, I want to hear from you. Do you agree with the people calling out the double standard of airing that outburst while cutting a speech about liberation? Or do you feel sympathy for John Davidson and believe this truly could have been an uncontrollable tic? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure you like this video, subscribe for more breakdowns like this, and I'll catch you on the next one.